Hello, everyone. Uh,
Hello.
this is this is Ozlem. I'm a professional coach and the coach co-founder of SparkUs. I'm
Hello.
together with
I'm
Dani.
Danny. I'm still struggling to keep my face in the frame. I'm the designer partner of SparkUs, and today we are going to talk about what lies ahead for coaching and our research. So let's start with. Um, okay, I took control of the presentation. Let's start with who we are.
Yeah.
Uh, Please.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, just for those who don't know about SparkUs or who don't know about us, because we're going to make a lot of, comments about digital and everything. So, just to give you a framework, SparkUs is a digital coaching company with an all-in-one approach, and we blend and optimize the coaching process with digital and live coaching sessions. We provide people self-driven coaching exercises, which we will touch upon also. So our main focus is to bring a larger impact in the organizations for them to build coaching cultures. So that's our focus. And with that focus on, in the past, in 2021, we made a research with a large group of HR people. And last year, we redid the research. And today, we're going to a little bit focus about that, but also about the future. So I'll give the word to you, Danny.
I'll jump in. When we run the survey, the outlook was very different than today. We had three major shifts in the business field that really changed the focus of HR professionals globally, and we want to talk about that as well. So we have the data from 2021, we have the data from 2022, and they are not very different per se. However, in hindsight, they were shedding a light what might be today's focus. So we will talk about how was the research, and we will mainly talk about these three major shifts and how actually it's changed the perspectives of HR professionals all around. And at the end, we will take your questions as well.
I will
So
also
without
like to add over here, like we just didn't focus on the numbers of the research because we did a lot of insight conversations with people. So we have a lot of qualitative information as well, not only stemming from the research, but also we had the conversation. We are always having coaching conversations with people, with the HR professionals particularly. And we have a lot of conversations in conferences, in one-on-one meeting with our clients or potential clients. And we are also very active in the field. So we are going to bring all those informations in this conversation.
So, what are those three major shifts? The headlines are political turmoil, inflation, and AI tools. And we will deep dive into each one of them and how it affects the current outlook of coaching and, in a larger scheme, the HR and future of work. So, let's start with political turmoil. We know that there's a war in Ukraine and Russia. There's a conflicts in the Far East. The trade wars are going on, and there is also the rift between two major political views all around the world. So between the conservatives and let's say much more
Progressives, let's say.
Progressives, and the rift is getting deeper and deeper. It's not only one country or other, but we see that it's popping up all around. So this generates economic and psychological uncertainty for many people, especially in the working field and especially in the knowledge workers.
Yeah.
The second part, this has much more tangible effects. We all feel the reality of inflation and how it affecting our way of living. Inflation does not only affect personal relation with the economy, but it also changes the core strategy of many businesses from growth to profitability. In times of low inflation, typically companies try to grow and they mainly focus on growth. So they invest a lot, and that investment strategy actually proliferates in all around the company. It becomes a larger company in terms of headcount, and the CEOs, they call them growth CEOs. They mainly focus on enlarging their market size and market share. On the other hand, when there's an inflation, by the way, this goes like a pendulum. For 5-10 years, if it goes to one way, after low inflation, it's followed by inflation. So it's a typical um, pendulum movement. When there's inflation, the companies actually hire uh, profitability CEOs. They call it bottom line CEOs. For the growth, they call it top line CEOs. The bottom line CEOs actually focus on productivity and profits. And this shift actually will be mirrored into headcount. We see a lot of firing, like I don't know what's the politically correct way of saying firing, but
It is firing, basically. Separating ways is a better, yeah, politically correct definition. Yeah.
Yeah, and this shift actually is mirrored in the valuation of the companies because of high interest rates. That is following the inflation. The interest rates go high. The valuation of the companies, when they use the calculations by factoring in the um, sorry, I just blacked out. The interest rates into their valuation calculations. When the interest rates go high, the valuations go low. So they have to factor in that as well. So we see a lot of scale ups and tech giants also letting go their personnel in order to mitigate that interest rate spike in the economy. And that actually changes the outlook of what is available in the market in terms of talents and workforce. And the third part is AI tools. I think maybe all of us, if somebody is missing the news, there's a huge news about chat gpt. The AI is taking over, and each month there's a new release. There's a new news in the headlines about how AI is changing how we work, and it is actually changing how we work. So it's not only about AI tools that is integrated to HR technologies, but also the way we work is changing. We can generate more value, we can complete more tasks with the same amount of resources. So less people can do the work, can do the same work, and all these trends actually translates into silent quitting, firing, and when there are people around you losing their jobs, what happens? You start to feel anxious about your future of employment, and that generates the anxiety that will come back later in the presentation. We see a huge problem of engagement, and we need a lot of genuine contribution in order to address all these issues. Why genuine contribution? I will give the mic to Özlem.
Yeah, I first want to go back to the engagement because it also adds, is linked to the survey results that we have. When we ask the HR professionals what are the top 3 strategic HR goals, the number 1 was engaging the workforce. So it's not kind of a surprise. As we mentioned, there is a lot of those issues of silent quitting, and there is a lot of people being laid off. That's why less people are doing more work. But there is also, of course, the hybrid workforce around. So it is a different form of doing work. People are not next to each other anymore. Leaders have difficulty of how to support people in that sense. So there is also that level of the engagement issue we're talking about. So I just wanted to focus on that. It's probably on the agenda of the HR for everyone, because engagement issue like the Gallup results, etc., had been here for more than a decade. We already knew that there was an engagement issue, but it is getting even a bigger portion of the focus, let's say. And when we come to the genuine contribution, in the past, it was possible to give people just tasks, ask them to become soldiers, if you will, like the leaders commanding and controlling. They're doing the strategy, asking people to do things, and it was all possible. And that's basically what we wanted from the people, to do their tasks, obey the orders, if you will. But it's no longer the case. Right now, since we have the technology, since we have all those big changes happening all the time, those idle tasks, those repetitive things can be handled by the machines, especially now more and more with the AI. And it's becoming a daily thing. It used to be more like let's say, if the organization did some digitalization, that was relevant. But right now, it's on the fingertips of every employee, everyone. So more and more, we're coming to the place of idle tasks, repetitive tasks done by the AI, done by machines. But what we need people for is for them to be more creative, for them to be really engaged, really enthusiastic about what they do, and have the notion of like, how can I do this process better? What can we add more value to the organization? So have that focus. So that means it's no longer like the employees are asked to do the strategy up there to perform that, but basically to strategize themselves also while they're doing their work. So that means there is a huge shift in terms of what we expect from employees, and we're going to come back to this. As Dani mentioned, there is a lot of anxiety, but there is also the need for motivation. We're going to come back to this topic, which is very much linked to the coaching process.
So since we are talking about what lies ahead of coaching, we have to dive into what actually HR is looking for, workforce is looking for,
Yeah.
and what is their focus. So we talked about three major shifts. When we are talking about this kind of shifts like AI, like Özlem talked about how we need the genuine contribution, it feels like it's somewhere in the future. It's somewhere down the line, like we can kick the can a little lower down the road. However, the reality is this is now. AI is now. And today you can log into ChatGPT, OpenAI's chat platform. You can ask any question you like and you can get answers. And on top of it, you can actually automatize a lot of your tasks with AutoGPT.
Yeah.
So what it all comes to is having your workforce ready to deliver these kind of new, productivity tools in actions. So they have to become future ready. So
Then I can change the slide, by the way.
This is the ultimate focus of HR. We know that a lot of our clients, a lot of our survey responders, and many of our network is looking for how can we focus and invest in a future-ready workforce. By future-ready, we are not just saying, again, in the future. We are saying They have to become ready from today. They have to start using these tools. They have to become much more productive in this economy. Sorry, and they have to actually reinvent themselves, understand themselves, their genuine contribution, and put into action to deliver value to the company. So, when we are talking about future ready, we are not only talking about single employees, we are talking about culture and mindsets.
That is important to note here. Like in the past, when we were talking about future ready workforce, we were mainly focusing on upskilling and reskilling efforts. And also in our survey, what we found out is those were more relevant in 2021. Those were the focus, but their priority when HRR ranking is getting a little bit lower. Not to say that they're completely out of the picture, but I think we finally came to a place to understand being future ready is not about the skills, not only about the skills. It is kind of possible to develop these skills as long as the people have the right mindset and as long as the organization has the right culture to give space to people to self-develop, to work on their works and to develop their processes, etc. So if we give them space in that sense, so the future readiness is very much about the culture of the organization, how we shift from a command and control type of leadership focus to more co-creation focus, from moving our people from being soldiers to being employees who are doing genuine contribution, and all of that is not just something that you can go to a training, receive training information, and just go out and do and act. So if we're talking about culture and mindset, we're talking about each individual basically in the organization to really come back to themselves, work with themselves, change the way they look into the to the whole picture. So that is very much the force behind us right now.
What I would like to underline here is these culture and mindset focus is somehow in the past we heard about culture change, digitalization, etc. However, most of the efforts was like islands in the sea. So there was one effort, one project addressing a certain issue. However, now what we see more and more, it's like an all-encompassing issue to create the right culture. Actually, right culture mix be, between the traditional culture that is mirroring your company's values and the future culture, where is what we are all talking about, the engagement, the leadership that will come to, and bridging them in a genuine way to still keep the soul of the company, but take the company into future with the right culture and the right mindset. So it won't be a small island there, small project here, small project there to address these issues. Most of the people that we talk with, they're undertaking huge culture projects, and they have their what we call impact points. They're focusing on leadership, mentoring, and diverse talents. Let's dive into that. First of all, when we're talking about culture, we need to touch the leadership, and we see a lot of leadership coaching happening around. We are not only coaching our leaders, but we are also seeing a lot of projects where we train leaders to become a coach-like leader in the company. They become the facilitators of the young talents so they can deliver more value and they can be more productive. Again, I'm going to underline here, we are going to deliver more value with less people. So leaders need to keep their team members motivated, and they have to become like a oil in the machine, so the gears can turn much easily.
Yeah.
We see a lot of mentoring projects here to impact the culture. Mentoring actually brings different generations together. We don't only see classic mentoring, that someone higher in the hierarchy mentoring the newcomer. We also see reverse mentoring. I will give the mic to Özlem about reverse mentoring. Just before jumping how it's important, I want to underline this. Uh, we are trying to also um, increase the number of touch points of the employees in the company, so they can not only see their leader, but they can see a variety of support mechanisms in the company, so they can have more impact into the business results. So for mentoring, I want to give the mic to Özlem so she can do a little deep dive on it.
Exactly. Thank you. So one thing to match also is like, let me go back to the survey, and these 3 points have also been very much linked to what we ask the HR professionals, like what are the development needs in your organization? And the first number was leadership, leadership development. And then the other came as developing our talents for the next roles, next steps, and developing a diverse talent pipeline. So those 3 things are very much linked to what you see on the screen right now. And as Dani mentioned, one topic is developing our leaders, not only as leaders per se, but also developing them to lead their teams better in terms of their team performance. But when we come down to mentoring, mentoring is very much linked to these 2 topics at the above of it and below of it, because mentoring sits in a place of where the let's say the traditional mentoring, let's say when there is a someone higher in the hierarchy supporting, let's say, a first-time manager or a new talent in the organization or a newcomer in the organization. Mentoring actually helps to deliver the culture to be diffused into different levels of the organization. So if we're talking about culture being a very important factor in terms of being future ready, mentoring actually helps a lot. It helps much more than just giving people some onboarding tools, but really helping them to understand what is there in the culture of this organization. So mentoring is very much linked to that. The other element of mentoring, we are also talking about reverse mentoring, which is then very much linked to developing our leaders, basically, in a different form. Generally, in reverse mentoring, we have younger generations mentoring older generations. And that actually brings a different perspective of being future ready, because the young generations bring the news from the future about not only as just to please our young people, what do they like about our company, what kind of leadership they like. It's not only about making them happy. It is with the reality that our young people are the future of our organization, are our future customers. They know where the life can lead into. They're not they are the natives of the digital, let's say, so they bring things very naturally to the young to the older generations, and by that it creates an internal shift in the leaders, saying, oh, now that those things that I learned in trainings are real, our people are asking for it, and I understand what their life is now. So it automatically creates the motivation on the side of the leaders to become future fit, even the resistant ones. So reverse mentoring is very much helping there, but reverse mentoring can also be used for other types of diversity in terms of development of female leadership in the organization, in terms of understanding different geographies. We're running a global reverse mentoring program, and one of the things, even though it is designed as older generations and younger generations. It is also a globally mixed program, which also makes people aware of different geographies needs, different cultures, how they fit into the bigger culture of the organization. So all of them support those shifts in terms of the mindset and the culture are very much linked to mentoring.
I want
And
to jump in and
go
say a
ahead.
few words.
Yeah.
So when we are talking about diverse talents, diversity, equity, inclusion programs we see around all the time, and we feel like it will be much more appreciated in time, and it will gain a lot more traction. But I want to underline the business rationale between the behind the diversity program. So we know that the society is getting their clusters, and we have to incorporate different point of view, different understanding, different cultural backgrounds into our decision making process in order to stay relevant in the future, because not only to address politically correctness issues, but also to really understand our clients, to really go beyond providing something that is decided tens or hundreds years ago about your way of doing business, but including different point of view actually carries you forward in terms of innovation, in terms of product market fit, and in terms of offering better deals to your potential customers. And that actually is a great segue for our next slide, because whatever the level of diversity in your company, there's an all-encompassing issue. There's a lot of anxiety in our workforce. Actually, I also have anxiety because of these changes and because of these all of these uncertainties. At the same time, we told you that we don't need that many people to work for us, because less people can deliver more work with the new technologies. So here is a curveball question for you, Ozlem. Do we need to address this anxiety? Do we need to motivate everyone in the company, or can we just keep the motivated ones and go along with it?
Yeah. Well, the answer, of course, is of course we need to motivate our people, but not just like motivation of like, yeah, hey, let's cheer them, but really to be there to understand their issues of anxiety as well, just to give a listening ear to those. Because right now, as we discussed, the three major shifts, all of them are creating different levels of anxiety. I mean, I can tell from my experience with, I was recently speaking to a number of coaches in Turkey after the earthquake, and we were discussing how people that you would expect not being personally affected by the earthquake are affected in terms of their anxiety levels, and then it is very much difficult to focus on your work when you are supposed to be motivated, be creative, and talking about the genuine contribution. So that is very much linked to it. Another conversation I had with other people who are going through the Ukrainian and Russian war, all those topics are like big issues are happening outside, and we cannot park them with social media. They're all part of our daily lives, and or sometimes we're in that field and personal living it, but on the other hand, business continues still, and we want people to be genuinely contributing, not just doing tasks, as I mentioned in a few minutes ago. So we just want them to be park all those emotional baggages and really put all their efforts, be creative, be completely engaged, and that creates an issue. But at the same time, these topics are not something you can address in trainings or gathering people in a town hall and just saying like, okay, everything will be okay. These are very much individual topics that affects every individual differently, and they all need to be addressed on an individual level. And it
And
looks like a big topic to handle for the HR, but it is very much linked to coaching in that sense.
this is a great segue for me to jump in and
Yeah,
say, okay, there are a lot of well-being programs all around the
yeah.
world. Well-being programs actually gaining traction, and we see the positive effects of them as well. At the same time, most of the well-being programs are historically they started by addressing physical health issues and trying to keep the employees as healthy as possible by providing them necessary skills to keep their physical health in checks. We help them make do more steps, like apps like addressing the issue of movement for the people who are just sitting in front of the computer. Then it just became much more. So this wellness program spawned into not only physical health but also mental health and psychological health as well. So there are some um, well-being programs that also include the uh, let's say the mindfulness of the employees. At the same time, these kind of programs, even though they address the uh, personal issues and help employees to tackle these kind of issues, they only are effective to a point that is, let's say, a hygiene level of preparedness to become future ready. So they can take care of the personal motivation to be really re-engaged to the business. As Özlem mentioned, after the earthquake, employees need to clear their head, and for these kind of problems, well-being programs really work. At the same time, they don't help the company to realign their employees with their business goals. And in that sense, we see a lot of programs in the coaching fields. However, coaching by itself, we see again some implementation of coaching at scale, democratization of coaching. So we just plug in a coaching platform with a coach pool. Anyone who likes to receive coaching, they can demand coaching and they have a coach on demand. However, we see there is a shift on that as well. And the reason for it is companies are actually looking for return on investment on the coaching programs.
Yeah, yeah. And in terms of the when we're talking about coaching with focus, maybe if you can just move to the next slide, I would like to dive deeper into what it means to have focused coaching. What we mean is you need to have a target group. It's if it's just like, yeah, coaching is there on the menu, take whatever you like, most of the time not the right people are moving towards the coaching programs. Or you just give something so generic, it's almost like coming back to ChatGPT, when people are trying things out without really knowing what they're trying. They're saying like, yeah, that was very generic, and that then the coaching experience remains very generic. The same idea is like you first need to have a target group to focus on. What are the needs of this target group? What are some common problems they're facing, or what has the company already done for this target group? Let's say it's a talent development program. What have you already done for your talents? What is really missing for them? What's the next step? So you need to first understand the needs of the group, and then comes like, what is the organization strategy? So what are some strategic themes we can focus on in our coaching? It could be like female leadership. It could be something like we're seeing a lot of movement from typical career paths towards technical career paths. So you can maybe want to deliver career coaching for your technical career people, or you want to have leadership development, as we've been discussing, or you want to have something around talent development. So all those themes you first need to understand and design your processes based on that. Otherwise, you're not going to get the strategic results you're looking for. And last but not least, are people ready for coaching? That is the big question that we are really focusing on. And what do we mean by that? If you are a coach yourself or been to the coach personally in the traditional methods, you would recognize this. It generally takes 3 to 4 sessions for people to collect their minds and express their challenges, and even sometimes to figure out what their challenges are. There is a moment to reflect on basics like your vision, like your values, like your strengths. So there are certain very core things that you need to first encounter before starting the transformation. And there is also the process of understanding how the coaching works. It's a different skill set, it's a different approach, because in all of our other development tools, we are told what to do. But in coaching, and also, of course, in mentoring, we are expected to figure out things ourselves, like find our own solutions, because the whole idea is to empower us. But that creates a tension when you're first starting coaching, because you just expect the coach to tell you something. And when they start asking you questions and never giving you the answer, it just creates a tension of like, why am I under a test? But that whole understanding of, oh, this is how coaching works, this is how I can benefit from it, it takes generally 3 or 4 sessions for people to really grasp it. And around the 3rd session or the 4th session, they start saying like, can we discuss this in the next session? Oh, I finally brought this issue, I thought about discussing this with you. So finally the main transformation starts until the coachee understands how the process works. So that level of coaching readiness is also something you need to be aware of when you're designing focused coaching programs.
So this is again maybe a right point for me to jump in, and I want to talk about what SparkUs does and how it does. We actually focus on coaching readiness. At the same time, since this webinar is about what lies ahead for coaching, I also want to talk about what is available on the market, how AI is affecting coaching as well. So I'm just going to jump in on how we deliver coaching readiness and how we are undertaking the mantle of mimicking real coaching experience with the help of technology. So we try to focus on what is the end result of coaching and what is the experience of the coachee in order to make that results their reality. First of all, we call the sessions unit of works. Each unit of work may be span out to more than one session, but at the end of the day, there is a journey for the coach to deliver the strategical goals of the coaching journey. And each coach has their own unit of works lineup in order to address the issues of the employees, the coaches. And when we are trying to approach a new project, we always start with the design of this journey. We customize for the client, and in order to mimic a real session experience, we utilize digital interactive tools to mimic, for example, what you see on the screen, a collage tool to help the coachee to visualize their future vision. We utilize videos and audio files to mimic guided visualization, so we can help the coachee to visualize certain things. We ask open-ended coaching questions, and we mirror back their answers so they can really experience that self-reflection. They can turn back into their own content and make a meaning out of it. And on top of it, we also recently implemented few AI tools to deepen that uh, personal experience in that unit of work. What is available on the market when we are talking about AI? There are tools that what we call general coaching chat AIs. Um, these are in their infancy, so we tried many of them. Uh, Most of the time, these kind of tools are asking the employee what kind of coaching they need, what is their goal, and they have to drive the experience. So the employee is responsible from driving the coaching topic from one point to another point. And this is again a too generalistic approach in our understanding. It might end up helping the coachee to maybe quit the job, or maybe just undertake more hobbies, but uh, they are not at the level of keeping them in line with the strategic goal of the coaching. So they have to be integrated with a well-designed coaching journey in order to be effective. At the same time, we see a lot of AI implementation in the matching part of the process, matching the right coach with the right coachee. In that case, our approach is a little different. We also utilize AI to match to make the matchings. However, we see that taking away the decision-making process from the coachee about the coach selections actually undermine the empowerment of the coaching journey. They have to be at least able to select their coaches. So we provide them a focused coach pool or mentor pool, depending on the program, matching their needs and best suitable for their needs. However, we don't provide them only with one answer. We try to provide them more than one answer to make their choices among them. And we see a lot of AI tools actually delivering consultancy rather than coaching, providing ready-made answers to business questions or strategic questions the coachee had in their mind. So the coachee asks a question around, how can I do this? How can I do that? And again, AI can deliver answers pretty fast, and to be honest, pretty accurate if you're aware of what you're looking for. If you have any experience with the chat GPT, if you know the field, the first answer may not let's say satisfy you, so you ask further questions to AI so they can clarify the content it generated to better suit your needs. If again you are the expert in the field, if you are not the expert in the field, the answers may be accurate or may not be accurate because you don't have any way to check it. So that's the issue with ready-made answers, consultancy style AI. And
But doesn't it bring us back to readiness in that sense? Like if you're ready,
again,
you get what you're looking for. Yeah. Exactly.
At the same time, I want to share what is available in the field and uh, what we believe the future of these kind of tools as well. We also implement some sort of consultancy engines into what we call unit of work. For example, once someone already decided what they want to develop on, we can recommend them some development actions.
Yeah.
That is a recommendation engine. Again, we are researching a right way, the right balance between providing the coachee right amount of choices to pick and choose from for their development plan, and not to direct them too fast and undertaking, actually undermining that empowerment process of the coaching journey.
I'm aware of the time, so I would ask to move to this slide, because I think what you mentioned is like finding the right balance is the key here. Like, where do you bring the AI into the picture? Where do you still deliver a digital process but without the AI? And where do you involve the human being? And our approach has always been a blended approach, where people first go through the self-driven coaching exercises. I consider them as like driveless cars, where there is still no coach around, so they're driving it themselves with the exercise sets. They can integrate the AI process to deepen the questions and everything, or they can just, as Dani mentioned, can use the other digital interactive tools, videos, audios, questions, etc., to get ready for their sessions. Then there is the matching happening, and then there is the live sessions. But with the live sessions, of course, the coach also reads where the person is coming from, reads all the content that they generated, and then the coach also knows, where to focus on better in the session. So what we're trying to deliver with this right balance of the digital and human is to bring the coach where they can be creative, again coming back to the definition of genuine contribution, where the coach can do their genuine contribution to the process. So that's been all our approach. And also, when we're talking about the future of coaching, of course, then there is a digitalization of the coaching as well, and then we can track the process by the platform. But here it is important that the platforms are designed without to breach the confidentiality. So what we're focusing on is the engagement of the people, where they want to focus on developing how many sessions happened, NPS scores, generating additional insights out of large-scale programs, etc.
Let me jump in just to say, just to underline what lies ahead for coaching. We see a lot of ethical debates, and Ozlem is in few of them. We are closely monitoring what's happening in the field and how the ethical guidelines will affect the coaching technologies. So there's a thin line between breaching confidentiality and helping the coachee and helping the company to better run the program. We always take the harsher standards for ourselves to share only the strategically important information that is not about the coaching content, is more about the way it runs, the effectiveness of the program.
More the overall analytics and the numbers around it and everything. So as Dani mentioned, one of the things that I can give a heads up that I have the leadership role in the EMCC Global's digital and AI workforce. And very shortly, you will receive information about the digital ethics. So they're about to be approved. The first version, of course, is about to be approved, I always say, because with technology, I'm so sure that everything would be in versions, they will be updated. But very soon, you would be hearing about digital ethics of the coaching and mentoring processes.
Just to sum it up, and we will take the questions afterwards. With digital coaching and with the right approach, we delivered 4 times more impact with the same resources. We've been able to align the strategic goal of the company and the goal of the coaching journey. We've been able to measure the ROI, with the numbers of coaching sessions, the time invested in, and we've been also able to work with seasoned coaches without lowering their hourly rates and still keep the project scalable. We don't only utilize our pool of coaches, we utilize sometimes our clients' pool of coaches, and we see a lot of scale in there as well. So technology is not only focused on large scale plug-in pools or large-scale marketplace, we can utilize the technology to actually multiply the effects of coaching.
Yeah.
So I'm
Here
going
it
to
is
stop now.
important. Yeah, I will just add one thing. Like, it is possible to use the technology to have the professional coaches as support, but also to develop the internal coaching capacity of the organization. Again, bringing us back to the topic of changing of the culture, changing of the mindset, that big future readiness piece. So let's
We
pause
have a
here,
lot to
and
tell, but I believe
yeah,
it's time to take some
I guess so.
questions.
Yes,
We
let's
can
ask
take off
for
the
comments.
presentation. I don't know if I can do it from here. Yeah. Okay. Are there any questions?
How can you help us develop a talent pool which is usually higher in number versus executives? Yeah, so let's a little bit dive into that, which I find a very important topic actually, because the traditional, when we think about coaching, we think about executive coaching, but yeah, we do need to provide coaching to more people in the organization. What we are focusing a lot on is, as we mentioned, the coaching readiness. When the people are ready for their sessions, it generally, we can take away the first 3 to 4 sessions of the traditional coaching process out of the picture. We can also take away, with the matching algorithm, the chemistry sessions. We can also take away, we can integrate the manager's involvement to feedback and everything when people are starting the coaching process. So with the platform, we can take away the 3-way meeting between the leader, their manager, and also, by leader I mean the coachee, their manager, and the coach. So all of them, when you think about the traditional coaching methods, takes maybe the 3 ways, the chemistries, the 3 sessions. It takes something like 6 hours already before people start receiving the transformation. So what we're doing is we're digitalizing that process originally, and based on that, we can then achieve more with less sessions per person. And that means with a similar budget, you can actually bring coaching to more people. So the whole idea is like, which parts of the coaching process can we digitalize, in a sense that we can bring the transformation faster with limited time that we have with the professional coach. So that's the general approach we have. Dani, would you like to add something?
I think you addressed all
the
issues. How well organized coaching programs could also motivate the interest in diversity inclusion within the organization? So before giving the mic to you, I believe coaching programs are actually much more able than other programs to be much more personal. At the same time, when we're talking about diversity, there are certain issues to be first opened up from the boxes that we put in. First gain awareness on them, then process them in order to put our diversities into, let's say, into action to make it much more valuable for the company. How coaching does it, it's on you.
Yeah, I mean, the core thing about coaching is really provide a listening ear to the individual. And it is on every individual level that you're doing this. And the whole idea is basically based around that genuineness of the individual. So it is unlike any kind of a traditional, let's say, a training where people go through, some general information. Coaching by its nature is focusing on how can you do it, like what is the specific unique things about your situation, your needs, etc. So by its design, coaching is focusing on the individual's uniqueness. That then automatically translates into creating more space for diverse and authentic ways of expression. And that, of course, helps a lot to bring that mindset to the whole organization. How can we support the coaches who are not aware of where to develop themselves? Great question. I think that comes back to the organization first defining what is the strategic goals of my organization and who are the target audiences. So that's the first starting point. Like, who do we involve into the coaching process? If you just open it very open-ended to everyone, then probably it will take a longer while for people to really understand what to get out of the coaching. And sometimes also in our experiences, it's a client's experience actually, that where we first delivered the digital platform for people to get ready for their sessions, and they were automatically assigned a coach. And in this project, people basically figured out that, oh, actually, I don't need a coach. I recognize that I need a mentoring conversation. Oh, I needed a conversation with my manager. So when we give people the self-driven process of the coaching, then we do give them a space to become aware of what they need. Not only just the development goals, but like, what kind of a support do I need? So they're very getting aware of those topics, basically. And anything you'd like to add, Dani, to the question?
I think it's a fulfilling answer.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Also, anything else? Wanting to, I think that when we're talking about digitalization, one of the questions that come up a lot from the HR people, I think it's fair to address this as well here, is like, how do you deal with the data privacy? How do you deal with, working with the IT processes? They take a long while, etc. So I'm aware that when we're talking about digitalization in the HR field, HR professionals are a little bit shying away from, having something introduced to the organization, let's say. So maybe that is an important thing to address here, that, all these processes need to be delivered by trusted vendors, obviously. And then I would give the mic to you. Like, how can we support HR to move to that field of digitalization in the field of coaching?
Actually, it's a very broad question. However,
I know.
we have around 2 minutes. I want to be as precise and as short as possible. So we see that there is a lot of movement in the coaching technologies. Before undertaking any, let's say, engagement with a tech provider, I believe the most important part is to gain awareness of what is the strategic goal of the coaching program and what are the desired outputs and how we are going to measure it. Because what we measure and what is the strategic goal is actually becoming the most important part of the coaching program design. Since we talked about the focused coaching, we have to first, as an HR professional, understand what kind of impact we want to deliver to the company. And afterwards, the tech providers, we have a variety of solutions, and every day there is a new solution. So I'm 100% sure that if you have a goal, a specific strategic goal, if you come with it to us, we can deliver the tech. Tech is the, let's say, end part of that decision making process. The most important and most valuable part is deciding what is the goal of the program, what is the strategy, and actually technology can undertake the scaling of it. So we have to have a clear picture of a desired future, and that will be the starting point. And afterwards, I believe the tech is actually gaining a lot of momentum in coaching. I'm looking back now, the development times of new features are actually shortening with the AI. So any kind of, let's say, request can be answered swiftly if it's aligned with the coaching ethics and the goal of the company.
Yeah. So I'm
I see
aware
that
we
come to the end of our time.
Thank you all
thank
for
you, everyone.
listening. And if you have additional questions, please feel free to write them down on the LinkedIn chat. We will revisit and answer any questions you might have. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next webinar topic. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.